I don't think so. There has been TED Talk that started with a pop culture reference of Katy Perry's song called Firework. And today I chose to start my talk on the art of dominance by Firework because I thought everybody who's going to listen to this talk, and I deeply believe in it, is a firework in themselves. To talk about the synonymous words, or one word in particular for firework, I call it outlier. So, the literal definition of the word outlier is something that is detached or placed away from the main system or body. That's the literal meaning. And I'm sure most of you would have read the book called Outliers. Basically, people or things who stand out are unconventional, are not sitting in the set equations of the society, of the system, are called outliers. But the way society looks at them, and what I think, is outlier, Liar. And why I say this is because people who are disruptors, who are outliers, generally do not abide by the set rules, the set systems, the set conventions, and that is why they disrupt the safety that most of us like around ourselves. I mean, imagine somebody walking out in black pants and white shirt, and nobody would judge them. But imagine somebody walking out in purple pants, green shirt, silver hair, and everybody would be like, this person stands out. He has some problem. He's not wearing normal clothes. So, this talk today is about me being an outlier, a very dominating outlier. Isn't dominating a very cuss word in general? And when it comes to women, definitely. I mean, don't we all like Preeti's? And there are no awards for guessing who she was. And all of us are obsessed with the Preeti syndrome. But dominating or dominance has been my core value over my life. Dominating choices has weaved a lot of my life choices, whether it be not opting mathematics in school, because of course, maths is such an important subject to aid breathing and for my soul, and not doing post-graduation or opting for the very cursed BA program in Delhi University, or not getting married at 25 was, they were the normal conventional choices that people expected me to make, which I didn't. And I still am here delivering a TED Talk, so probably I did something right. But what was important was that in all these watershed examples and choices that I did make in my life, I was called wrong, I was dismissed, I was written off, I was rejected, I was made to feel alone, and made to feel like I'm really causing some problem somewhere because I was disrupting. But I think what made me stay dominating, or the art of dominance that we are here to talk about today, was an underlying sense of purpose. It is like knowing the last station of your train journey, and also a underlying trust in my own sense of, in my own gut instincts, in my own sense of assessments and analysis. And that's why here I am where I am. There are 3 stories in particular that I thought I'll be sharing with all of you today. The first is when I moved to my training as a bureaucrat. And I was young, I was just a graduate, I had no professional work experience, and there were multiple judgments, or what I call them conclusions, because I think everybody is addicted to seeing people as ends and not means, that were made. Oh, she talks too much. Oh, she's probably too straightforward. Or she's too bubbly for a bureaucrat. She doesn't understand the complexities of the field as much because, the exam is just a theory and probably she's made it using her learning skills, but not necessarily her work skills or her professional skills may be that bright. So there was a time that I went through a lot of insecurities, and that also made me a tad bit irritating because I was vocally defensive about my insecurities. But ultimately, I received a very friendly advice. And that advice was just be Meenal. and be very confident in your own skin and assert loudly. Because I don't think so by being quiet you can be dominating. And that's exactly what I did. I think with my unconventional mindset and my ways of being, I won 3 out of 8 gold medals in training, and I was the only female on the list. To all the people who had written me off at the beginning of the training, it was especially for them. So after that, in training, I moved on to the field, and this is the second and the third story combined that I experienced. That when you're in the field, you're confronted with a lot of challenges on education and health primarily, because I was also working in the field area. So there was still judgment with related to somebody who was unconventional in the way they work, because as an officer, I think I've been very proactive in sitting on the ground, for example. And I had this advice a long time ago that if the people refuse to sit on the chair with you, you sit on the floor with them. So I was actually opposed to 2 very polarizing thoughts and institutions later. One was, of course, driven with the conventional thought process, institutions, big institutions, opinion makers, experts, and they were very happy if I did something that was being done for years. Because, of course, that's safe, right? I mean, they don't like the outliers. And the other was, of course, smaller thought processes, smaller institutions, people who were still fighting for space in the system. But the difference was that these smaller people and whatever they were advocating had actually led to change. The sense of purpose that I talked about earlier, that we want to make the right impact in the right place, they were helping in that. So I was again confronted with a lot of judgments and me being wrong, being immature, impatient, anxious, and of course, too young. But I still did what I did. I was dominating to choose what I wanted to choose for myself. And we did make the right impact at the right time. And we could help so many mothers and children with whatever we did in the field. The policy details are not relevant right now. Why do I necessarily use the word dominating in all these stories? I mean, there are such nice and positive synonyms of it, like self-assured, confident, self-belief, that, people may call it as. The reason I always call it as dominating is because when you stand against the rat race, when you stand against the herd of sheep that are moving in one direction, you are an obstruction. It's something negative. It's inherently something negative when people actually look at you like that. And I have been called dominating too many times in my life, so probably I'm obsessed with that word in a certain way as well. But I'll also tell you that dominance, if it's masked with arrogance, that only I am right, it's pride. But dominance, if it's masked with self-belief in what you want, is it gets you the victory, it gets you your intentions and goals as you want. So I think that thin line of difference has always remained in my life. And this is what I want to tell to everybody who's listening to me today as well, that there is a huge interconnectedness at play. It's not just you being dominating without thinking about left, right, or any kind of factors or factuals at play. No. There is an intention that comes first, which I've talked about, my sense of purpose. It can be anything. Your sense of purpose could be to earn money. Your sense of purpose could be to help other people. It can be anything. Once your intention comes in place and your own assessment, analysis of the situation, the project, any counterfactual is, you're sure of it, that is when dominance enters. Because then you don't want anybody to touch that, which has always happened in my life. And then you develop the courage and the resilience taken to take that intention, reach its ultimate destiny. So I always say this and I laugh about it, that probably I'm that person standing in a completely crowded sleeper class train wagon, hanging half outside the wagon, but I want to still reach my destination because I know what it is. I know if I had to get down at that station, and I'll keep hanging to it, even if I've been pushed aside, because I know I have to reach that. I think that sense of purpose is so important. And that's why my art of dominance really helped me get at. The journey was never easy because, there are times when you seek validation, when you crave validation. There are times when you don't want to feel alone. There are also times when you don't want to be called anxious and impatient and immature and emotionally being downplayed all the time. And there were those times in my life. There were those times when I was dominating and I didn't necessarily succeed. It's not like, I cited 3 stories today, but there are multiple projects and multiple times in my life that I've actually failed. So the journey is never easy. But if somebody asks me, was I being okay with following the set patterns and standards and conventions of the society? Or was I okay taking my own decisions, having my own sense of analysis, standing alone at many junctures and doing ultimately what made me happy? Yes. Over the time, of course, that anxiety has reduced, and it will reduce for everybody because with time, you'll realize that you develop a sense of surety of who you are, surety of what works, what doesn't. And I think the key to really make way through dominating choices is soft manipulation. I don't know how many of you would have actually heard of that word, but that's something that's a concept, a phrase that has really helped me in my life. The reason is that with time and with maturity and with experience, you do realize that not always people around you would be moving with the same mindset, the same pace of thoughts, the same cultural setting as you do. So today you might not want to do engineering, for example, and everybody around you is doing engineering. You may go ahead with not doing engineering, as I am sure many people do, but there is no reason to be necessarily rebellionful and hateful towards others. It's important to respect others, and if your dominance, and I might sound paradoxical at this time, if it comes out with a sense of respect, sense of humility to everybody around you, that is exactly when you win the war. Because soft manipulation makes you still escape through the same choices, but a lot less discomfort, I would say, than you would have otherwise. So the art of soft manipulation is something that should be kept close. And these are all concepts that not all of us can learn in a day. These are concepts that most of us have learned over a period of time. And I think through many leaders, you'll get to hear it in different words and in different ways. But what's important, what I was here to talk about today, was the importance of still staying dominating with a thud in all your life choices. And that can happen once again if you know who you are, if you know what you trust in, and if you don't have a failures mindset. So if you do have a failures mindset, where you're continuously thinking that me taking this odd choice, I'll fail, that's exactly the day that you will fail. So there's this little story that I always share, is that there was a man who was told that tomorrow you'll be bitten by a snake and you'll die of the venom and you'll be used in our research. He was told this by a doctor. The entire night he sat in his room and he was thinking about being bitten by a snake and he was thinking about the venom. The next day the doctors came and pinched him with a small pin and he died. The reason is not the pin. The reason was not the non-existential snake's venom. The reason were his own thoughts, his failure mindset of him exaggerating the entire scenario of him being bitten by a snake. So I think soft manipulations, right, clear, and positive mindset, at the risk of sounding very conventional, are things that take everybody through. There is a last quote by Steve Jobs that I've sworn by my life, and I read it time and again because I think I'm the biggest misfit in the world, still dominating my way through, that I would like to share with all of you. Here's to the crazy ones and all the crazy ones listening to this. The misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers. The round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules and they have no respect for the status quo, not at all. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify and vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them. because they change things, push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who think that they are the crazy ones to change the world are actually the ones that do.